as well.
Yeah, it says live on here, yeah.
Yep, spot on. Right, it looks as though we are live. So without further ado, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. I'm going to give a quick introduction to a person that probably doesn't require an introduction, but we're going to give it anyway. This is Sunderland legend Paul Jack Lemon. Basically, Paul would join Sunderland as an apprentice in summer of 1981. He turned professional and received his first call-up in September of '84, a home game against Spurs. Lemon would also feature in the squad that beat Manchester United 3-2 in a very heated match at Roker Park. 2 weeks later, he come off the bench to replace Dave Hodgson, making his first team appearance against Aston Villa at Villa Park. His first start would be in an away game against Luton before being handed his home debut against Graham Taylor's Watford, a team featuring current Sunderland FC head of recruitment Tony Coton and footballing legend Luther Blissett. Paul his first goal for the club in the 86-87 season, a 3-2 away loss to Derby at the baseball ground. Lemon would score a further 5 goals that season, including 2 game winners in home and away matches against the Pilgrims and Plymouth Argyle. The 87-88 season was his most prolific in front of goal, where he managed 12 in 49 appearances. Brought up in his account of 1-1 draw with Crystal Rovers, scoring past former England goalkeeper Nigel Martin. He would register 2 braces that season with game-winning goals against Chester City and Doncaster Rovers. Paul would have short spells on loan with Walsall and Reading before departing Sunderland in 1989. He made a total of 120 appearances for the Black Cats, scoring 20 goals. Statistically, in games where Lemon scored, Sunderland boasted a 75% win rate. Lemon will go on to join current Burnley manager Sean Dyche at Chesterfield, scoring 9 goals in 85 league appearances for the Skyrites. In '92, Paul suffered a ruptured cruciate knee ligament, taking him out of the game for 9 months. He did manage to feature in a memorable match at Anfield, where Chesterfield would draw 4-4 against Liverpool in the League Cup. Upon leaving Chesterfield, he would play a part in the Derry City team that would win the League of Ireland Cup, finish as runners-up in the FAI Cup, and a respectable 4th place in the league. Lemon eventually would hang up his boots at Telford United after an 11-year career, 200-plus league games, and 35 goals. Ladies and gentlemen, the legend, Paul Lemon. How about that for an introduction?
That's superb, that. Absolutely.
It took me all week to write that.
Bringing a few back memories there.
As I should. I've already got people asking, Paul, is there any way you can turn down your speaker a bit, because there's some audio problems. It seems like it's coming through on the other end.
Turn it down.
Down a bit. I see if you can still hear me. How's that?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's repeating on the end. Gav's just mentioned you can hear it on his, because it's coming through.
Do you want me to turn mine down?
Turn it down a little bit more if you can, Paul. Yeah. Sorry, man. Right, we'll just try and see how we get on with that. Can you still hear me? Okay. Oh. You turn the sound on, or do you turn his electricity off? Are you there? You hear me?
I'll just put 50p in, you're all right, don't worry.
We are from Middlesbrough. I'm saying now. So anyway, so Paul, what are you up to these days? What are you up to, mate?
Yeah, I work for Scunthorpe United as a scout. Generally, my role nowadays is watching the opposition. So weeks before we play a team, I'll go out and watch them, see how they play, set up. We've got a template which we give to the match assessor, analyst guy at Scunthorpe, and he'll pick the bones out of my report. That roughly about 60 to 70% of my role. The other 30-40% is going out watching players. Generally now for Scunthorpe, it will be the under-23 market. So that's my role. As and when I get back to work, if there's going to be any more work, because obviously that's a different ball game at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing rumours that hopefully League 2 games should go ahead in September with crowds, because obviously they don't get the crowds as doing the Championship. So, but we'll see. That's my role nowadays.
Okay.
I love it.
Do you
it's a great job.
Do you ever scout any games?
Yes, I went to Stadium of Light a couple of times last year because Scunny played them early doors. It was the Charlton game, I think the first game of the season. And it was a wake-up call that first half for Sunderland. They didn't play very well, but they brought it back second half, and obviously they won the game with the virtual last kick of the game. But yeah, I've been back a few times. I bumped into Gary Benno a few times. I've seen Paul Atkinson. I've bumped into Jimmy Monty. So yeah, I do go back up. But obviously now Scunny, we got relegated that year. Sunderland stayed in the league, so I probably won't be going up as much, but you never know.
Was there any players there that took your fancy?
Well, not at the time, but the guy, is it Luke O'Neill? He's grown up. I think he's got a good future. I've always been of the opinion that Sunderland need to be signing them types of players. That's just my own personal thought. You know what I mean? He gives it everything. If Sunderland had 6 or 7 of them in the team, with a few 3 or 4 guys who can win the matches for them, that'd be a good mixture there. I like the boy Dobson. We've watched him a few times. He was never going to come Scunny, but I think he could go higher. Max Power, another one I've always liked. So they've got good players there. Why they are just lying about 8th is a little bit surprising. I thought they might have done slightly better this year. It pans out. We haven't got the answers yet, but it don't look good to me for Sunderland, to be fair.
I get you. So let's go back to your career then here. So when you first started out, where did you draw your inspiration from as a player?
As a player? Well, I just grew up with the game, basically, as most of the lads do. You know, it's a working class game. We didn't have as much coverage when I was a kid on the television as they do nowadays. So I used to go to Middlesbrough games. That was the Borough team in the 70s, right up until I signed for Sunderland. I used to go to the games 80, 81. That was my inspiration, basically. And all of a sudden, you know, 2 years later, 1983, people like Dave Hodgson and Mark Proctor and little Stan Cummins, I'm playing with them. They're like, these guys are my heroes, and Proc's coming to pick me up at Middlesbrough in his car, you know what I mean, to go to training at Sunderland. It's like, oh my God, this is weird. It really was. But these guys were the inspiration, yeah. The team of the 70s at Middlesbrough, late 70s going into the 80s, yeah.
Was there a player that you admired, like to the point that you wanted to emulate them? There's some sort of skill set that you admired and you wanted to add that to your game?
No, not really. The way I just seen it, I just went on the pitch and did the best that I could and gave it everything. There was no one player who I looked upon. You know, there was loads of great players at the time, but no one particular player I would say I want to be in.
Paul Atkinson just dropping a name in here, like he said. Did you know that your surname is an anagram of melon? I think this is going to be the standard practice throughout the day.
Yeah, this could be the standard practice. Yes.
You were warned though before you came on. You were warned.
Is he sober anyway?
He probably isn't. What time is it? It's what 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock at home. Yeah, he's probably on the source now.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it. So.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Borough, and obviously you spent a decent amount of time, 120 games at Sunderland. Is there any other club that you would really wanted to play for in your career that you didn't get a chance to?
Well, I had a chance to sign for. We played golf the other day with Lee Turnbull. He used to play for Borough, and he's my head of recruitment boss at Scunny. We were just playing golf, and we mentioned this. Middlesbrough, yeah, Middlesbrough was my team I grew up with, and would have been the team I would have loved to have signed for, and I had him in the room. I just, at the time, didn't believe I would get my chance going forward because the team above me, the kids coming through, I thought that it was a good set. So I thought, I don't know the lads of Sunderland. I'll go. Charlie Ferguson wanted to sign me, so I went there. I don't think it was a bad shout in the end. Like I was just saying off air to you before, me and Paul Atkinson, we played for the youth team. You know, age 15, we got there for a youth semi-final. You know, I don't know what the crowd was. They say it was 21,000, but certainly 15, 16, 17,000 to watch a schoolboy, a youth team game. Sorry, just shows you what the fans were like. You know what I mean? Absolutely fantastic. Even to watch, come out and watch us at that level. You know what I mean? So I got in the team pretty early doors at Sunderland for the youth team, and signed for them age 16, and then played up front. That was my position then. Played up front, scoring goals, and then playing the reserves at 17. So looking back, no, it wasn't a bad shout. But to your original question, Middlesbrough, yeah, they're my team, and I still look for them now. Same as Sunderland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair
There was
enough.
no rivalry for me. There was no rivalry. It was just basically, Sunderland was a big club, and I thought, brilliant. I never thought Borough Sunderland fans get at each other, and Sunderland and Newcastle fans. It was just a football club to me. I want to go and play football.
Excellent, man. So what was the best advice that you were given as a player?
Best advice?
Yeah.
That's probably where I went wrong on it. I wasn't given any good advice.
Signing for Sunderland.
No, just don't leave anything on the pitch. I think you learn. You learn as you go along. The way I used to look back, I never left anything on the pitch. I wasn't the most gifted player in the world, but I give it everything. You can the old adage, you can look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. I can honestly say I never left anything on the pitch outside. I give it everything. Fans mightn't have seen that at the time, or the way I, my body language and that sort of thing, but I can assure them I never left anything out on there.
Well, you were called up to the first team when you were 18, so you're selected for squads that would face. I mentioned before that you were selected for squads for Spurs and Man United game before you were handed your debut in the old First Division when you came off the bench to replace Dave Hodgson. You mentioned Hodgson there before. Aston Villa at Villa Park in front of 15,000 people. Do you have any memories of that day, your first ever appearance for Sunderland?
Well, the memories I have is it's a first team game and it's a big occasion, and I'm surprised, like you said, there's only 15,000 there, because at the time I thought, wow, it's a big crowd, it's a big occasion.
Yeah.
You come off the bench. When you come off a bench as a sub, it's always different to get into the pace of the game. But I found the pace pretty quick. So that's my everlasting memory of it. We got beat 1-0. Did you say?
Yeah, we lost 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And funny as it is, one of the things I always tell people is I actually found it easier to play in what is the Premiership now, the old First Division, than the Championship or League Two as it was then, and League Three. You know what I mean? I always found the higher you go up, I don't know, it just seemed a lot easier. Well, you certainly had more time on the ball. And as you work down the leagues, it physically becomes a lot harder and quicker.
Just different styles. Yeah.
Just the different styles.
Sure.
Yeah. You just do not get the time on the ball the lower you go down. And I've just got this memory. This thing in mind was the games I played in the First Division. I think it was about 10 dozen games. Was like, God, this is quite comfortable. You know what I mean? And then we got relegated.
No, we did. You're not wrong there. So actually, that takes us to the next point there. Put on basic promotion to England's second and first tiers of football, some notable cup runs, and your goals against Huddersfield, Derby, and Brighton. All memorable moments for us as supporters. But what was your most memorable moment as a Sunderland player?
The most memorable, I'll say, the two moments is the one you mentioned there. My first goal was the second goal that night. I think Dave Buchanan got put us ahead, put us 2 up. And then just before half time, we bloody conceded, and then we got beat 3-2. So that was typical of that season. We just conceded too many goals. And the other one was when we came back from that relegation, was the 1-0 win at Port Vale. I don't know how many Sunderland fans were that day, but Port Vale just seemed to be absolutely just rammed with Sunderland fans. Brilliant. And to win the game was even, for them was good. But I also remember the game not long after that was the Rotherham game. I don't know if you can remember that one. And we won 4-1.
That's 4-1,
yeah, and we'd already won it. It was packed, Rotherham, from the halfway line to the corner flag, all behind the goal. And I've only got to put an own goal. I don't know if you ever see Rotherham's goal that game. It was an OG for me. So that was a great memory. Yeah, but we'd won.
It was on the 51st minute you scored it as well, because I told you I like it. I'm into that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It came over, and I'm just going to try and knock it away for a corner, and it's just hit my head like that, boing, it's gone straight over Ian Espen in the back corner. I'm like, oh my God. I could have done that at the other end as well, couldn't I? But I had to do it in front of the Sunderland fans. Brilliant.
I think who else got Gabby, and he got 2 that day, Birchin and John McPhee. skill
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
So
we were too strong. We were too strong for a lot of teams that year, especially when
yeah,
Gates and Gabbers
yeah.
really got on, got going together. Um, it was good to watch at times, even as a player playing in the game. Them two were really on the same wavelength.
I thought I'd mention this to Aki as well, and a couple of other players. I think from me, they were. I think we haven't, outside of possibly like Phillips and Quinn, we haven't had a partnership like that since that. That was for me the first kind of
No,
partnership I'd seen, where there was like a lot of ebb and flow, and just an
yeah,
understanding of each other's movement and position and awareness was just unbelievable. Like,
yeah. I mean, Gates, you could see the bigger picture really well,
yeah,
and Gabber's pace. I mean, he was raw. He really was
hmm
raw. Um, and them two just linked up brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, they did, yeah. So going back to your goals then. So you basically you managed 20 while you were with Sunderland. Do you have any? You mentioned before. Do you have any favourites other than the Derby one? And if you do, which ones and why?
I think if you mention any favourites of players, I think they'll say everyone, and I'm no different. You know what I mean? Every
Yeah.
goal at professional level is special. I don't care who you are and what you say. Um, but if the goal won us the game, I would say that would be the one, or got us a point. You know what I mean? An equaliser. They're the goals that if you win 4-0 and you get the fourth, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, it's a goal, great, and it's a professional goal. But the ones that count for me are the ones like a goalkeeper making a save when you're 0-0. For me,
hmm
goalkeepers are always the best when it's 0-0. They make a save. It's not when you're 3-0 up and do a worldie.
Yeah.
You want your keepers to keep you in the game and win you the game. Same as a goal for
Yeah.
me.
So.
Every goal that is important to
Mhm.
the result. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Excellent. So we talked about your memorable moments. Is there anything you would consider to be your worst moment in the club, whether it be like performance or experience based?
Well, there's two that springs to mind for me. The one was the Gillingham game. I hadn't, you know, Laurie had got the sack 8 games to go, I think, and Bob Stoker actually said to me, "I'm not playing." He just basically just never played me. So I didn't play in the 8 games of that running um, when we got relegated. Didn't even play in the first leg of the Gillingham game, and all of a sudden just got a phone call from him saying you're playing on the home leg. So that was a shock. To get beat
Mhm.
as we did in that Gillingham game was very disappointing. Was it away goals? It was away goals, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah, the only team to get relegated in the way goal.
Yeah, we won 3-2. We won 3-2, did we? Or was it 3? I don't know, but we won 3-2, didn't we?
4-3 at home.
4-3, yeah. We won, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew we won. So to win and to go and not to survive was disappointing.
Mhm.
And a personal one, was just going back to the Milk Cup final when I'd played. I got into the first team when we were in the first division, and I played quite
Mhm.
a few games running up. I didn't play any in the cup games, but played in the league games.
Mhm.
And then we played Norwich the week before. We played Norwich in the cup, and we beat them 3-1 at Carrow Road. So I thought, great, I've got a great chance of getting in the team here. Why change a winning team and all that. And then the morning of the game, I actually shared the room with Davy Corner, and Len just knocked on the door and just basically didn't even come into the room and says, "Davy, you're playing today, Jack, you're not." Ah, okay. And it was as brutal as that, you know what I mean? Well, at the time, you don't
Yeah.
think nothing on it because I'm
Yeah.
18-year-old or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, 19-year-old, chances will come again. Now looking back, it was brutal just the way. And even when we got to the stadium, I
Yeah.
just said to Len, where do I sit? Because obviously there was only one on the bench them days. And he just says, "I don't know, Jack." He says, just go upstairs and find a seat. So, I'm at Wembley. I'm not even got an official ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a bit, yeah. Looking back, that was a disappointment, and you
Yeah.
know, to get beat 1-0. I'm not saying I was going to play the game and we'd win. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, why change a winning team? You go to Carrow
Yeah.
Road and win 3-1 the week before. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was disappointing.
That's fair enough, mate. Aki's asking
Hundred thousand
who.
as well. hundred
I
thousand.
know. Massive. Where was the old stadium? Was it? It was jam packed.
Oh man,
Um,
even the lads coming out, my ears and my arms and my back, it was just like, oh my god, the unbelievable atmosphere. Sunderland
I can
fans, it
only
was just,
imagine.
oh, it's fantastic, fantastic.
What? Aki's asking whose boots you cleaned when you were an apprentice, and who cleaned yours when you became a pro.
I don't know whose boots I did clean actually. To be fair, I know Frank Worthington's was one.
Mm-hmm.
One of the stories I was going to tell you, actually, was somebody cleaning my boots, was the fact that when Matt Laurie came into the club, he actually put me on the transfer list. And straight away, didn't see me play, just said, no, you're not part of my plans. So I said, okay. And Middlesbrough came to watch me. Willie Mandron actually came to watch me, and I knew that because we used to look at the tickets and see which scouts were coming. Anyway, I got wind that Willie Mandron was coming to watch me. So I gets to the ground, I prepare the game as normal, gets to the ground, there's no boots where the apprentices used to put your boots on where your spot was. I didn't have no boots, so I called my apprentice, I didn't even know who it was at the time. Basically, cut a long story short, I had no boots. Somebody had nicked my boots. So here's me trying to like get myself away from or try and impress somebody. I've got no boots. So goes into the boot room and I just basically it was a size 9 here. I had to borrow somebody's boots. It was a size 9. So you talk about professionalism as well. Back in the day, you know, and professionalism nowadays, that just wouldn't happen nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody pinched me boots. I didn't have no boots. I'm trying to impress a manager, and I'm playing in these unbelievable tight. But I couldn't run. I mean, I wouldn't have signed me on that performance. I couldn't run. My feet were killing me. It was just horrendous. So that's actually probably one of my worst memories as well, because not very good.
Man. So in today's game, it's like rare to see players stay at the club like for longer than 3 years. What did it like led you to stay at Sunderland for the 5 seasons you were there?
Well, players didn't move on, did they? You know, unless somebody came in for you, we didn't have agents them days. Players just seemed, even if they're happy nowadays, they seems to be getting moved. So I think it was more than nothing to do with me personally. I just think it was more the norm that you honoured your contract, didn't you? You were given a 3-year contract, and when your contract ended, there was another one there for you if you wanted it. So it was more that sort of scenario. Certainly wasn't a wheeling and dealing that you have nowadays. So I don't think it's anything specific to me. It was just the generalisation that players didn't tend to move as much, or as frequently anyway.
So I mentioned that you were obviously with the club for 5 years, so you obviously lined up alongside some quality players, and a lot of them are considered to be club legends. So you think about the likes of Venison, Pop Robson, Chris Turner, Paul Atkinson. Sorry, I had something in my throat there. Only because he's watching. Ruben Agbola, whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday, Ruben.
Ruben.
Sean Elliott, Nick Pickering, Benno, Clive Walker, Tony Norman, Gates Gabbiadini. Who was the best Sunderland player that you played alongside, and why?
Well, I'd say the best was Gatesy for me. He, as a footballer, you know what I mean? He could see the bigger picture. His technique was, and you know, I'm not quite sure what age he was when he came to Sunderland, whether he was just coming down. I'm not even sure, but certainly probably when he was playing it, he was superb, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then him and Gabbers, like we've said before, did link up brilliant. But they're all good players, you know. The professionals. I didn't, in my opinion anyway. There wasn't many bad players. They were all good players, all in the all right. All had different attributes. You know what I mean? John McPhail, John Kay, Colin Pascoe. You know, lads that didn't make. There was a few good players in my opinion that didn't make it, like John Moore, John Cornforth. You know, was that John Connie was a superb player. Just didn't seem to get the chance for whatever reason. And I'm sure that's goes to, you know, with a lot of clubs, there's players that don't make the grade who just didn't get the break for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some good players you mentioned there. Certainly some good players. Even before I signed for Sunderland, just as apprentice, you know, that Ali McCoist, you know what I mean? That was Alan Durbin had a really good squad there. Just didn't happen for them for whatever reason.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you played outside as well. You represented Chesterfield in a number of games as well. Did you line up alongside any other notable players? And if yes, is there anyone else outside of the club who you thought, you know, who could have made the grade or did actually go on to make the grade as well?
The best player I played outside Sunderland was, and he was definitely coming towards the end of his career. In fact, the game I played against at Liverpool game when we drew 4-4, he didn't move outside the centre circle. It was Jan Moby, unbelievable, unbelievable. You look at him, you think, you know, he's overweight, can't run. He was just 3 or 4 seconds ahead of everybody else in the head. You know, he didn't need to run around.
Yeah.
His distribution was just unbelievable, both feet. Yeah, and that game we drew against Liverpool at Anfield in the cup game, you know, we went 3-0 up, and we're thinking, Jesus. And then we took our centre forwards off basically, and we just played like a 4-5-1. Well, it was just us, you know, we were defending the Kop.
Yeah.
And for the second half, just Liverpool we couldn't get our own box, never mind our own half. But yeah, to score 4 goals at Chesterfield at Liverpool was good. But Jan Molby, back to your question, was class in my opinion. And then there's young Jamie Redknapp played that game, and you know you got the likes of Rushy was coming in the career. Yeah, you can see why they've all had good careers.
That actually, I have to mention that there was that question that came from a lad called Graham Greaves. So I want to make sure that you get to shout out as well. So similar to like best opposing player, but maybe a different answer. Was there a player that you used to dread facing on the field? Someone who you just didn't like playing against?
No, we spoke about this off air. No, there was honestly, I can honestly say there was. We did. I don't know if you spoke to the other lads what they say, but you know, obviously now what I said up from what I do at Scunthorpe, you know, we do opposition, watch the games and that. I can't remember like the managers who I played for talking about the opposition. I really honestly can't. I might be wrong here. I know Dennis certainly never did. I'm not sure Laurie did. Lenash, we didn't talk about the opposition. You know, it was, and you certainly weren't scared of the opposition. There was no. I honestly say, you know, there was no one player I thought, I'll fancy this today. It just didn't enter your head. Nowadays, the lads have to go through, you know, they'll sit on a Friday afternoon, maybe for half an hour, and just go through the opposition and how they set up the style and that sort of thing. But the lads might tell you different, but what I can remember, we certainly didn't do anything like that. It was what we did on the pitch more than anything. Get that in order first, and you know, if you get beat and you've done your best, and that's the way it is, isn't it?
It's a good psychological approach. Like, you know, let them worry about us rather than
I
the
think
other way
so.
around.
It might be old school, but you know, there's technology there nowadays. I mean, every game is video. The software that we use, Y Scout and Scout 7, you can watch every game. You know, it's there. You can do clips, you know, corners for, free kicks for. It's all there for players to look at, so you can analyze yourself. You know, GPS now for the top end. You know, even monitor your sleep and things like that. So all the things are there for these guys to make themselves better.
Yeah.
But if somebody starts worrying about the opposition, I think you're on the back foot straight away. That's just my personal opinion.
No, I agree with you. We've got a question here from Stephen Meerman, who's in Atlanta, Georgia. Have you got any stories or your best stories from pre-seasons? Any, you know, when you guys have been traveling pre-season, is any stories you can share with us from pre-season tours?
I've got many stories that I won't share with you. As I said off air, and yes, there's probably a few pre-season stories which I will not share. No, not really. Dennis took us to Kiel University, and that was tough. The one that was toughest was Lenash took us to Aberystwyth, and we had to do a 3 or 4 mile run on the beach. And I don't know if anybody's been to Aberystwyth. It's when the tide's out, is the groins, isn't it? Every 100 yards. So you're doing this like run and you're jumping over these groins like every 100 yards, and it was tough. It was tough. But pre-season is tough, you know what I mean? Pre-season, and it was old school pre-season. Them days, what I can remember is when, you know, it was a lot of running, get your fitness, get it all in the bank. Nowadays, it tends to be a bit more with the ball. I don't know where I stand on that one, but I probably think getting your fitness in early doors in the bank is probably the way I would go forward.
Sounds good.
Sorry, Stephen, no stories as in what I can share anyway.
So we've got you mentioned about old school before. I'm going to ask you about some like stadium football grounds, and as a player and a supporter as well. Where's the worst and best grounds that you visited, and why?
I've got to be very careful where I say the worst grounds, haven't I? Well, best ground for me was Wembley, and you know, Liverpool's Anfield, superb. You know, I played a lot of the big grounds, but didn't play in the league, as in the first team games. Played a lot of reserve games. Everton, Man City, Man United, superb stadiums. And obviously, then as my career, when I left Sunderland to come to Chesterfield, I was playing a lot more of the lower league. There's a few there. I wouldn't want to mention them. I mean, Accrington Stanley at the moment is an eye opener. It really is an eye opener. But they are what they lack in Stadia, they make up in other things. Which I'm sure the Sunderland fans have had good memories going to Accrington Stanley's this year. That's the game got called off, wasn't it? I think the game got called off, or got postponed when it was waterlogged pitch. Yeah. Apart from the Stadia there, Accrington seems to be in a part of the country where it just does not stop raining. So I'd have to say,
Stanley, that's fair enough. That you could have had all the shots or Hereford or any of those, from back in the day. So,
no, I tell you, I like them grounds. I like them grounds.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask you that question now. So, do you prefer modern stadia, or you're a bit more nostalgic? You like going back to, we talked and brought up what Gary Bennett and Tony Norman have both alluded to as well about Roker Park. When he walked in there, it didn't matter if it was full or not. It had this atmosphere. I mean, it was just phenomenal. So, are you more nostalgic, or do you just prefer the the new modern conveniences and that kind of stuff?
I don't know. Probably because I haven't played. I'm not playing in this area. But as I said to you earlier, watching the Charlton game last season. When the Sunderland fans are there, and it was when the players came out, unbelievable noise at the stadium, and it's a superb stadium. Roker Park, when it's packed, it was a great atmosphere. But as the lads probably saying, it was a great atmosphere even if there was 15,000 in there. You put 15,000 into the Stadium of Light, and it's not quite the same. I think to get the best out of the Stadium of Light, you needed packed. You know what I mean? So I know where the lads are coming from. Just Roker Park had a bit of soul, didn't it? It was just brilliant. Actually, you've just triggered something off there. Probably Carlisle United is probably one of the worst grounds. I just think they're one of the most soulless grounds in the world. So, any Carlisle United fans out there, I do apologise.
You don't have to apologise. They're borderline Scottish, so it's all right.
But yeah, no, I do prefer the old style, but some of these new style grounds, I mean, the Riverside's on a slightly lesser scale than the Stadium of Light, you know what I mean? But when that's packed, I've been there when it's packed, you know what I mean? It's great atmosphere, but I do like the Stadium of Light, I must admit.
Yeah.
When it's packed.
I think we talked about that as well the other day. We were talking about specific or the best games that I've personally been to or looked at. We were talking about Gary Bennett about the Man United game and the atmosphere when he scored, and then obviously the atmosphere the night when we played Chelsea in the FA Cup in '92. I think the best atmosphere I experienced at the Stadium of Light was the Sheffield United playoff game. Where the fog was rolling in, the sound was electric. I mean, again, you could have floated home that day. Anyway, so you're right though. The busier it is, the better it is, and the way they set up is just phenomenal. But Aki's saying on here,
Roker Park, when it was like only 15, 16, 17,000, it still had an atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Paul Atkinson's asking if you've been to night school. He says that you couldn't hold a conversation when he played with you. Just saying. So
he must be on his fourth can now. He's getting a bit cheeky.
I think so. So you mentioned before over your Sunderland career, you were there with Alan Durbin, Len Ashurst, Laurie McMenemy, Bob Stoker, Dennis Smith. Graham Pritchard from Arizona is asking, who was the best manager you played under and why?
Dennis Smith, without doubt. Why? Dennis was old school and he was hard but fair. He didn't overcomplicate things. The recruitment he got, the lads he brought in, the recruitment, I can see from his side now how important recruitment is. Recruitment can make or break a club, as simple as that. And he got the recruitment right. He came in at a good time. The club was at a low ebb, but we still had some good players in that squad. There wasn't a lot of difference between that squad that went down and the squad that went up, apart from obviously he tweaked a few things with the players that he brought in. And obviously you put a sprinkling of Gordon Armstrong, Owsey, Aki, myself, Corny. young lads. It worked. It worked. So Dennis was the best I had there. And I still see him every now and again when I go to games. He's now to the lads there. But very old school. And he had a laugh.
Yeah.
Training was fun. I mean, he'd kick you in training. He really, he'd kick you. I've seen him. Actually, there's one for you. Actually, yeah, I'm just thinking about that. The question you asked earlier was the one of the most frightened opponents. Probably him in training, to be honest with you. Honestly, you just hope that if he was on the Bibs team, that you were on his team. You know what I mean? Because you played against him. He's mad. Honestly, he was mad. He'd kick anything. He'd kick his own granny. He really would.
I know he had a reputation at Stoke, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. I just reputations I don't go by. I just what I see myself. But what worked with Dennis was, in my opinion, was Viv. He's number 2, Viv Busby. You know, it wasn't good cop bad cop, but it was near as damn it. You know what I mean? And Buzzer was always the one that put your arm around the shoulder and, you know, you're doing well. You know, if you're not doing well, he'd tell you that you're doing well. You know what I mean? He's one of them, and it worked well, them two. So Dennis was the best, but he worked well with Buzzer. It was a good combination, them two. And Malcolm Crosby, I mean, I know I didn't work under. Sorry, I didn't work under Crosby. I'll just mention Malcolm Crosby because obviously I'd left by the time he was like in the first team coach, but I played a lot of games under him at reserve team level, and he was super. One of the best coaches. You know, you say one of the best managers. You know, Crosby was one of the best coaches, and you can see why he didn't quite make it as a manager because it's a slightly different role. Malcolm Crosby, one of the best coaches I've come across.
That's excellent. So I don't know why Paul Atkinson keeps coming up in these conversations. I have no idea, but why was him there? Why was he considered Alan Durban's love child?
I don't know. Pass. Ask him.
I thought he told me that you.
I'm not getting drawn into that. I'm not getting no solicitors' letters on my doorstep next week.
I'm serious. I'll ask you about that.
There, isn't it?
I'll ask you about Laurie McMenemy then. Where did it all go wrong?
Very difficult one. Very difficult one. That one. Because, like I said, that his recruitment. You think the players that he brought in: Gatey, Alan Kennedy, George Burley. A few was Steve Etsky. At the time, you think, yeah, that's probably the players we need. Experienced, been on the block, they've done it. Can't get any more experience than Alan Kennedy, Frank Gray. It just didn't gel, did it? It just didn't gel. It didn't work for whatever reason. It just didn't work because we was, the kids, youngsters were there like myself and Gordon and Owsey. It just didn't work. I don't know why. Very difficult to put a finger on that one. But it's like confidence, isn't it? It's confidence. You lose a few games, and the crowd get on your back, and if you can't pick it back, get back on the roundabout again, you fall off it again, and you just seem to be like swimming against the tide. There's certain seasons, and that was one of them. Maybe Laurie had come with a certain reputation. The fans expected more, and rightly so. But there's, I've said to you off air before. There's no divine right that Sunderland get results. There's no just because they have 30,000 or 40,000 as they are now. There's no divine right to winning a football game.
No, I 100% agree with you. Terry Marsh had mentioned something about a famous shadow training incident with Laurie. I don't know if you can elaborate on that.
We used to do what you call shadow play. Well, basically, it was just your shape. You're just doing your shape against no opposition. So, if player building up on the right-hand side, you get your left-hand side players tucking in, your left back tucking in, and it was just shape. The one I remember was Len Ashes. We played against the opposition doing shape, and we had no ball. It was just you know what I mean? We're passing this false ball around, I get a bit of shape with a ball, so you can actually see, how it's working. But we were doing it with no ball, and it was like, seeing, just thinking, what the hell is this? Yeah, but again, that was your old school. And I'm a very big fan of doing shape. You know what I mean? Get yourselves organised, but yeah, doing it without a ball was a weird one.
Well, you played a big part in what was a very memorable season for me as a young Sunderland supporter. Obviously, winning the first division the first time I tried was something obviously our current squad have been unable to do. In the end, it felt like we walked the league. What are your favourite memories of that season?
Favourite memories was just basically getting back on winning ways, basically, and enjoying the season, going into work. Not just playing on a Saturday, going into work. Having a bit of crack with the lads, pressures off, having a bit of fun, serious training, a lot more relaxed atmosphere. Again, Dennis and Viv probably brought that to training as well. You win a few games. And probably you'd probably even say now, I know that hasn't happened for Sunderland, and it didn't happen for Sheffield United. A very similar situation. Sheffield United were in league you're in now for 6 seasons, wasn't it? And then they went bang, 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 and look where they are now. But I think there's a massive difference between Championship football and League football. I really do. League One football. So it might have been, and I think that was probably the case at the time. We certainly weren't put under as much pressure by teams in that season. We won games quite easily at times, I think. I don't know how many games we did lose, but probably count them on one hand, I think.
I can tell you. Hold on.
I thought you would.
I don't just sit and do this all day, Paul. I'm not just sitting there. If that's what you think, hold on. We lost 2 games all season in the league.
There you go. Yeah. So
right?
compare that to the season before when the
7 games. Sorry, 7 games.
7
Yeah, 2 at home.
Probably more than I thought we would have lost, but there's a big difference. There's a big difference between the Championship and League One, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But Sunderland's a big scalp in that league, and one of the things we spoke about off air, they need to be thick-skinned. They need to have balls, don't they? They need to have that. They can handle playing at Roker Park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's their cup final. Why wouldn't you want to go and play at Stadium Line? I play for Rochdale. I play for, I don't know, whoever's in that league, Fleetwood. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't I want to come to Stadium Line and show a big crowd what little Fleetwood can do or little Rochdale can do? And Sunderland players have to, as a minimum, have to match that. Have to. And then hopefully the skill and goes beyond that. But if they don't match that, they might be in there for another couple of seasons.
I think if you think about that, I mean, that mentality as well, Paul, that's been how it's, for our continued relegations, that's why it's been that way. If you think about the squad, when we got relegated out of the Premier League, that team should have been sufficient to get us promoted again. Should have been on paper. But you're right, you go back to what you said before about divine right. And I think that skill alone, when you start to change the style of play, it's not going to be enough if you don't match the bare minimum, and that is, the physicality, the strength, the speed, the will from the opposition to want to win, want to prove their worth. And if you don't match that at a minimum, like you said, then we're on a hiding to nothing. And we've just gone through that for 2. Well, we went through that for 2 consecutive seasons. And this year we had a little bit of that, although we did have a slight, decent patch again under Parkinson. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that in a second as well. So you mentioned that specific season as well. Obviously, the 3rd division season. You also played. You did manage to play for Sunderland at Wembley in that Football League Centenary Festival. Is anything? I mean, I know that we did get knocked out from Wigan that day, but was anything that's so you have played at Wembley? Any memories from that day at all?
Yeah, I did play. Yeah, forgot about that one. No, to be honest with you, joking apart, I did forget about that. I know there were there. I can't even remember what the sort of support was, I remember the pitch being very sapping, and that was on a quite cool day, and we didn't play 45 minutes each way, I don't think.
No, I think it's 20 minutes. 20 minutes each
Was
way.
it? Yeah. So it was a weird one. But yeah, no, there's no great memory from that one. To be fair, I had forgotten that, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
I can't say I played at Wembley.
Yeah.
But the other one, the Milk Cup final, I mean, that was the one for me. That was the lads who played.
Yeah.
So
So
has Davy
let's
Conley
talk
been
about
on here?
well, no, he hasn't. No, I think this is going to sound really weird and random. I think the only time I've met David Corner was in the toilets at Wembley. Don't ask.
No, don't want to go there.
No, it was the I can't remember. It was the what was it? It was the Checkatrade Trophy, and aye. Well, I can't even if I say it, I'll tell you offline. That sounds suspicious as well. So I can't say now. Let's just say I met him in the toilets. We'll leave it there, and then it'll be in the Sun and Echo tomorrow. So so a bit. You mentioned your support for Borough. If Sunderland play Borough, which team do you support? Do you lean towards your hometown club, or is it one of those where you like do the old Switzerland?
As a supporter?
Yeah. If Sunderland played Borough, who would you support?
As a football supporter, I would support Borough, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
But I
no.
actually played against Borough twice, and we beat them 1-0 at Roker Park, but then got beat 2-0 at Ayresome Park. And that was a great, I playing at Ayresome Park because that's where I grew up, sort of thing. But that was a weird one, but I was desperate to beat Borough that day. And as a player, desperate to beat them. We got beat 2-0. We got knocked out of the League Cup. But sorry, guys, as a supporter, Borough.
It's all good, man. So, and again, we talked about the political side of the game, and what do you think? What's your opinion of the current state of the club, then the current state of Sunderland, and what do you think we need to do? I mean, put all the experience that you've had, obviously from a scouting standpoint, playing, coaching, watching the game from afar. What do you think we need to do to put the club right?
Difficult, because obviously I'm outside looking in, so I'm not going to come on here and say what you need to be doing. But generalisation is basically recruitment is everything. When I got into recruitment, which was about 2012, 2013, I did bump into Tony Mowbray, and he'd just been given the Blackburn job, I think it was, or the Coventry job, I think it was. Yeah, it was Coventry. And we were talking about recruitment, and he says a good player, a bad player will take you back. I'll take the club back 6 months, a year. He says a good player will take your club forward 3 months. So, and it's always stuck with me that to get, and there's no right or wrong way of recruiting, in my opinion, because we can all agree on a player and he'll come to a certain club and it just doesn't happen. So. I'm not going to sit here and say that it works every time, but from Sunderland's point of view, like I said earlier, you need a certain type of player. That team needs to be made up of certain type of players, just in my opinion. The Kevin Ball type. I know there's not many Kevin Ball types out there. If you could get 4 or 5 of them types, your Luke Neens nowadays, who's honest, he'll give you everything he's got. Not the most gifted on the ball, and you can sprinkle that with a few of the better players who can win you a game. That for me. Off the pitch, to be fair, I spoke to you offline, and I thought Jack Ross was doing a good job. I'll really be honest with you. I thought he was doing a good job. He stopped the rot, because that you could have easily done at Portsmouth. Sunderland could have easily done at Portsmouth, and just gone through the leagues. But he stopped. He not only stopped it, but he reversed it slightly. He got you to the playoffs. Okay, you got beat by Charlton, and then something didn't quite happen this year. And new guys come in, and he had a slow start, but now he's getting it back, which is good.
Yeah.
And I don't know Phil Parkinson, but Lee knows him very well. My boss, Lee Turnbull, and he's a great guy. You know what I mean? But will he be given the chance? You know what I mean? I just think someone just needs a bit of stability.
Yeah.
Okay, going forward, this guy Stuart, what was Donald, may not be the guy to take him forward, to the Premiership,
Mm-hmm.
but he's done a good job. He's come in, he's steadied it for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you get a little bit ins and outs of the Netflix series, which I found quite interesting. He seems genuine enough, you know what I mean? But again, Sunderland fans want Championship football tomorrow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
the problem is, Paul. I think his tenure at the club has been divisive amongst the fans. Basically, with this, there's so many in the for camp, there's so many in the against camp, and I think the realization is down to putting your money where their mouth is, and no, there's no pun intended there either. It's great coming in and making a lot of claims and statements about what you're going to do, and even establishing or even implementing a timeline. But I think we have got a good set of fans. Um, in general, when the shit hits the fan, people go back and will look to you as a moral leader. They'll look to you to see if you've achieved what you've set out to achieve. And like you said before, I think if you come in and you're not doing that, and going back to the Laurie McMenemy comment, if you're not doing that, that's when the fan base will start to turn on you. You've got the other ones who are your loyalists, who will just basically, no matter what happens, they're always, banging the Sunderland drum. And again, you need that at every club. I think you also need people that are going to come in supporters wise, who are going to help, not enforce, but would help people realize that change is necessary. And I think that there is still a long way for us to go as a club,
Yes,
from top to
yes,
bottom.
yeah, I agree. But just going back, I mean, your Sunderland fans, when things are going brilliant, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I just
Mhm.
feel as though that what I get, and I'm just generalising here. I'm just not on about Sunderland fans. I'm generalising here about fans in general. You won't please everybody. You just
Yeah,
won't. You get to the Premier, you guys will get the Premiership, and you will have people on your show or on Facebook or whatever not happy about certain things.
yeah,
You just won't please everybody all the time. Whichever route you go down, just back your guy, just back him, and eventually it will
yeah,
happen. It will
yeah,
happen. Sunderland's too big a club to be in League One for a couple more seasons. Too big
yeah,
a club. But you need to back him. You
yeah,
can't have any. Everyone's got to be pulling in the same direction.
yeah,
There's so many. There's so many of you, isn't there? You 30,000 in League One. Oh my
hmm,
God! Championship
yeah,
clubs will die for that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Bottom end
yeah,
of the Premiership would die for it. I don't think you utilise that fan base as much. I don't think everyone's pulling together at the
yeah.
same time. Most of the Sunderland fans are,
Hmm.
but you
It
just can't seem to please everybody, and it's a shame.
I think though as
Shame.
well, Paul. I mean, look at from a generational situation. I'm not trying to pick on the younguns here, but there's that sense of instant gratification. Wanting things now, needing things now, and setting.
Mm,
I think personally setting wrong expectations going into a game is already good, being excited and going to Old Trafford or and going to compete there. I think there's a time. I talk about Americans in general. I mean, again, I'm actually I naturalized myself 3 years ago, so I'm actually an American citizen now. But I talk about the mentality of American sport in particular, where they promote this win at all cost situation. Now, there's times where I've coached and I've gone in, or if we draw today, that's a good result.
mm,
And I think
mm,
that mentality has, although that sits with a lot of us who have been around for a while and watched various sports and understood situations going into games. Yeah, draw is a good result. There's also the
mm,
side where no, we've got to win. It doesn't matter, we've got to win or we're losers. And that's I take you back to your game when you played for Chesterfield at Anfield. Your 4-4 draw. That must have been
mm,
like I can't even imagine what it was like for you lads in the field, being 3-0 up against
mm,
one of the biggest teams in the world. So,
mm.
that kind of euphoric situation coming away from there, the draw, you're probably kicking yourselves because you should have won it. You were 3-0 up. But at the same time, to look back and say, we drew 4-4. And again, I think it's that mentality what we're lacking that now, because the instant gratification is so prevalent in many different environments now that they're trying to, or there's a thought that we should have that in sport too. And I think that as you said, we'll go back to the divine right thing. If we don't work hard at what we're doing, we can't have those expectations. I think we have to seriously look at the club. So,
Yeah.
you know,
But listen, it goes hand in hand. You get your crowd turning up, and that's why generally Sunderland fans were great with me because they could see I gave everything. You know what I mean? And if they can see that on the pitch, in the modern day player, they're generally being fine. Just going back to what I was saying with recruitment, they just need players who can handle, have big balls. As the you know what I mean. That's the saying. You know what I mean. Just handle that pressure. You
yeah.
know what I mean. And
And
they're going to get stick. They're going to get stick at Sunderland. They're going to have to be paid to get stick. Everyone can't have a great game every day, and the Sunderland fans do let you know if you're not having a great game. But the players, the recruitment coming in, have to handle that. And I'm sure if they get them type of players in, they'll gradually start edging forward.
we've actually got a really good question here from a lad called Philip Pollard. He's put on here, have you ever scouted or recommended a lower league player that's gone on to play regularly in the Premier League?
When I started off at Huddersfield, the one where we did scout him, a lad called Joe Lolly, who plays for Notts Forest now. So he's probably one of the better ones that have come through, and we've actually gone out and paid money for him. We got him from Kidderminster. He didn't quite do it at Huddersfield when we brought him in, because he'd come from Kidderminster, signed him, Huddersfield, we signed him, and he didn't quite do it. Then he left Huddersfield and went to a few others, and it eventually ended up at Forest now. And he was, the last 2 seasons he's been flying. And the talent that I'd seen on that day at Kidderminster starting to come through now. He's probably the one. A lot of the players that we do sign, are lower league ones. There's a lad called Yates who plays for Forest. Plays for Forest now. We had him on loan last season under 23s. Regan Slater is a young lad coming through at Sheffield United. I'm not quite sure he's going to make it in the Prem, but certainly he'll have a good career. So we do take a few of the young ones. Ivan Toney was another one we took on from Newcastle, but he'd already played a few games for Peter. Somebody anyway. Came to Scunny and did really well. So yeah, they're not that type of players. If we won't pick up a Premiership. They'll go somewhere else before they come to us, basically.
Okay. So what do you think's your biggest accomplishment in sports?
In sport,
yeah.
Well, like we said, sometimes you are your own biggest critic, and I look back at my career and think, didn't quite do that. Should have done better. I got injured. I did my cruciate ligament. I only played 200 games, and thinking my career should have been much better than that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we made it as a professional sports person. Doesn't matter if you made one game or you played 500 league games. You know what I mean? We made it as a pro in a tough environment. Achievement is just actually the fact that you made it as a professional sports person. I think I would have been a better player. I think I would have been a better player nowadays than I would have was in them days because you've got more help. You know what I mean? We had to basically look. We had to try things out. But even the era before me, you used to have steak and chips with pre-match meals. Things evolved, don't they? You know what I mean? And players now, they've got everything laid on for them. You know what I mean? Maybe too much. Maybe too much. I don't know. But no, just make it as a sport. Just make it as a pro. That's my.
Aki reckons it's not your golf like.
Not my golf, no. I didn't pick a club up last year, and I played 4 times this last 2 weeks. I didn't pick a club up last year. I'm too busy on the road. You know what I mean? Because when I'm scouting, I'm working like 3-4 days a week, and then you're doing your reports afterwards. So you get very little time for yourself. So make hay while the sun's shining. A bit more golf.
Absolutely.
You don't even play golf. Aki's a tennis man. I'm not at tennis. I used to get my ass kicked at that as well. He was a tennis player.
So going back to the fans, you mentioned before, is there a favourite chant or song that you heard from the stands that stuck with you? Something a bit funny, different?
No, not for me. I never.
Not for you?
They didn't chant for me. I know that.
Are you sure?
No, I can remember. No, just in general, innit? Just listen to the Sunderland fans when whatever they're singing, whatever they're singing, they're so fanatical. It's brilliant, and it does lift you. This is what we're saying. This is what I'm saying about everyone getting together. You know what I mean? It really does. I mean, I think Dennis used to say it was worth a goal start. It really was, and that is still the same nowadays. 30,000 at home with everyone pulling in the same direction. It lifts the lads. I'm telling you now, 10, 15%. It really does. It is worth a goal start. But on the other side of the coin is, once you start getting on people's backs, and some players like that. Generally, nobody likes getting slaughtered. Nobody likes being abused. Nobody likes getting criticised openly. Especially when you're trying hard. Nobody likes it.
Yeah.
So generally, in the long term, I don't think it does it any good. I think if everyone gets together, there's no better feeling than the Sunderland fans.
It's good to
As
hear.
much noise. Absolutely, absolutely brilliant.
All right, so have you got what was your funniest incident as a Sunderland player?
I didn't have many funny incidents. As such, like I say, I mentioned about the one where Paul Atkinson took the corner flag. He went to take the corner, and he's kicked the corner flag first, and the corner flag's cartwheeled. So he's casually gone to go and get it, put it back into its thing. This is what I can recall. Put it back in its whole thing. Whips in the corner, unbelievable, on somebody's head and scores a goal. You know what I mean? Just as casual as that. I remember being in a hotel room once with, I think there was like me, Benno, Frank Gray, Eric Gates, and we were just playing cards. And there was a knock on the door, and it was Lou Chatley and Laurie. All right, lads, how you doing? What you up to? Well, we were playing cards, and there wasn't money on the table. It was coins mainly. So one of the lads just quickly put the paper over these cards and coins. Yeah, fine, thanks, Laurie. Yeah, no problem. And as he's in the room, I've just gone to pick up the paper and started reading it and exposing all this cash, all this coins and cards and all that. And he says, "Okay, then, lads, I'll let you get back on with your gambling," and just walked off. You know what I mean? So, but nothing too outrageous. There's, like I said, there's loads of stories I can't tell off air. Certainly not live.
Just for those listeners back home who are wondering, if I'll have a chat with Paul offline and I'll get all the stories for you, and I'll tell you the next time we meet up, and then that way it wasn't him.
Next week.
I'll mention the mine, something like that.
With John Kay, we were playing in a league game, and Casey playing right back, and I'm like playing right midfield, so 4-4-2. So I'm just in front of him. Anyway, he's whacked their left winger on the halfway line. Free kick, not a problem. And I think the referee was Roger Millard that day, or Millard. The one that really good guy, you could have a bit of crack with him. Casey's gone back to the box to defend the box before the free kick comes in, but Roger wants to book him. So he shouts him over. Right, yeah. So I'm shouting, Casey wants to go with you. So Casey runs another 30 yards back to the free kick. And Casey's like, "What?" He says, "What's your name, son?" Roger knew his name, quite obviously, just wanted to make a point. So Casey just went right up to his face. Said, "I'm not telling you." And went back to his spot at the right back position there. So the referee just said, "Come on, let's play on." That couldn't happen nowadays, you know what I mean? Referees would have to be under pressure to book him and to be seen to be booking him. That was just a brilliant bit of banter, and Casey got away with it, you know what I mean?
Excellent, man. So, excellent.
But yeah, no stories I'm going to prefer to share on here when I can think of anyway.
Sounds good, mate. Well, I think we're coming to our end of it. We've got over an hour now, but is there anything else that you want to share, Paul, while we're online?
No, everything's fine.
Excellent. Well, I just want to say, anyway, on behalf of people at home as well, thank you for your time and service to the club as well. I want to thank the viewers as well for tuning in, and then remind everybody that we've got Brian Atkinson on next week. We're screening some games as well next week. So again, Paul, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking your time out as well. And stay safe and stay well, and keep the faith.
Make a push and get out of League One and into the Championship, where as a minimum you deserve to be.
I know. Let's fingers crossed, eh? But thanks again for your time, Paul. You take care, mate.
Cheers.
See ya.